Since I was 2 years old, I couldn't do anything else. I knew always I was going to be an artist because that's all I could do. It's a lucky thing, actually, not to have to make decisions about your so-called career. In Cincinnati, I couldn't do much else academically. I was dyslexic. Now it's called that. I was called stupid then. And it was very unpleasant. But I always drew and painted. And as soon as I got a driver's license at 16, I went to the Art Academy in Cincinnati at night with adults and started to paint. Now, none of these situations, even at Ohio University, nobody could make me an artist. In fact, it's why I stopped teaching, because what are you going to say? They always ask you the same thing, how did you do it? And the only way is that you were touched in some way genetically. And that's me. That's what I am. I was working one Christmas in a store in Cincinnati to make some money. And a guy came in who I'd been in high school with, who went to Ohio University. I said, why don't you come up to Ohio University? I said, I don't even know where it is. I thought it was Ohio State. And I was certain it wasn't going to be a Buckeye. You know? And so I said, well, this is Stanford. It's great, classical, you know. And I went up. I don't remember even applying. It was $85 a semester. 2 semesters.
I think that's changed.
2 semesters. I got my money's worth, you know. And there were 4,000 students. The art department was very small. And maybe there was 6, 7 teachers. And I immediately started to work. I have a lot of grandkids, so my wife and I have been through all these applications and things. And I mean, there was none of this. There was no essays. There was no SATs for me, because in high school, the teachers wouldn't tell me that you had to have an SAT because I was such a bad boy. So when I got here, I was welcome. And I was fortunate to have, and it's interesting because the show here is sculpture and prints. And I was fortunate to have 2 teachers who allowed me to be me. I mean, this was my education. It wasn't from the English department. If anybody could have had tutors like this, and, you know, it's what you hope. But mainly, it was the camaraderie of guys who I went to school with, vets from Korea. It was a funky place then. I mean, you know, you could just do what you wanted. I never went to almost any class. I just painted, I just made work, I just made sculpture. It was so fabulous. It was such a relief to be able to express myself without having to tell my uncle how I was going to make money later. You know, that sort of thing. So when I got to New York, my wife got pregnant almost immediately, and we lived like artists, you know, like because of how I was allowed to work here, because of the way Hostel and Roberts worked, left me alone and commented on my work and said things technically. I just eased in, you know, and it was just a continuation of being in Athens. I happened to be an artist in Athens, that was it. And I was an artist in New York.